Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we are trying to discuss with exception handling here, and we identified the like how we can work with try catch block to handle the exceptions. So along with this, we identify the nested try, try and catch blocks here. Cutting the pan. So today we are going to discuss the remaining keyword called throw keyword here. So basically, so we already identified here using the try catch block. So how we can handle this particular appropriate exception if we are going to get. And so what are the advantages we identified here? So advantages here, so when we are trying to work with this particular try and catch block, the program is not going to terminate it here. So we are going to prevent the terminating the program here, cutting the point. Now, so same way, we are going to work with the throw keyword here. So how exactly this particular throw keyword is going to work? If we observe carefully, so far, like whatever the exception we got here, so those are thrown by the our Java runtime system here. Getting the point. And if we observe in the previous classes, the last classes here, we are trying to handle the exceptions here. Something called arithmetic exception, array index bot of one exception, right? And some different exceptions here. So whatever the exception we are trying to handle here, how we are handling it with the help of this particular catch block here. Getting the point. So these exceptions are thrown by the our Java runtime system. Here we are not throwing any exception here. Getting the point. And so here, if you want to throw explicitly, now what we can do? Getting the point. Basically, so this exception is thrown by the some location. Getting the point. So then only here we are catching here. The line number 16 we are catching. So this exception is thrown by the line number 6, or it's going to thrown by the line number 9. Getting the point. So once this particular exception thrown, we are handling here. But now today we are going to discuss here how we can throw an exception. Getting the point. If we want to throw an exception explicitly, so what is the keyword we need to use here? So the keyword we need to use here, throw keyword. Getting the point. Here we need to use the throw keyword, and here we need to specify the throwable instance. Throwable instance is nothing but, so any exception is default directly is extending from the our indirectly or directly is extending from the our throwable class. Getting the point, because we already discussed in the last class. So the hierarchy, how exactly the exception handling hierarchy is defined. Getting the point. Now here what we need to define, throwable instance here. Right. So throwable instance, whether it is a exception or whether it is a runtime exception, or what we identified in the yesterday class, like something called arithmetic exception or array index bound of exception. Getting the point. So whatever the exception we are having, we need to define like this here with the help of this particular keyword called throw keyword here. Right. Now, along with the exception classes here, we cannot work with the primitive types here. So what we discussed the primitive data types here, something called int, char, boolean, long, right? So we cannot use the primitive data type as a throwable instance here. And non-throwable classes. What are the non-throwable classes here? String and object here. String is a one object class, and object is also one object class, right? So we cannot use as a throwable instance here. Getting the point. So something called, so no string. We cannot use like this. Getting the point. Or we cannot go for the object here. We cannot define the object here. So whatever the throwable instance we are having, what are the throwable instance we are having here? Something called arithmetic exception, like null pointer exception, array index bound of exception, illegal state of exception. We are having some different types of exception, so we need to define. So otherwise, if I am going to create any custom exception, we can go for the custom exceptions also we can throw using this particular throw keyword. Getting the point. But here, now we need to understand here, we cannot use as a the throwable instance the primitive data types. So as well as we cannot work with the string and object here. String and object here. Getting the point. So we need to understand some restrictions here when we are trying to work with a throw keyboard. Okay. Now we understand here the throwable instance we are going to use only whatever the classes are going to extended by the throwable class here. Right. And now, so whenever we are trying to throw any exception here, so the catch class, getting the point, the catch, it needs to handle the like exception here. Getting the point. The catch, we need to handle some location here. So we'll see how we can work with a simple example on this particular throw keyboard. Getting the point. Now, when we are trying to work with this particular, whenever we are trying to use this particular throw keyboard in our example, now what happens internally? So it's going to stop the, getting the point, it's going to stop the execution wherever we identified this particular throw keyboard. So whatever the below code we are defining, so those code will not execute here. Getting the point. So once we are throwing here from the throw, so it will move to the appropriate catch block here. It will move to the appropriate catch block to handle this particular throw information here. Now, so let's see how we can understand this particular simple example. So here, now what I'm defining here, throw demo. Getting the point. And inside this particular throw demo, I want to work with one method called demo proc. So inside this particular demo proc, now what I'm doing here, I'm defining try block. So inside this particular try block, I'm working with a throw keyboard. I'm not defining any code here. So directly, I'm trying to work with the new throw keyboard here. So whenever we are trying to work with the throw keyboard here, now what we are doing is, we are creating an object of the particular exception class here. So the simple example here, null pointer exception. And here I'm trying to work providing the message called demo. Getting the point. Now what you understand here, so whenever we are trying to throw here, so with the help of this syntax we need to follow, we need to create the particular object information with some additional information. Whatever the additional information we want to provide, so we can define. So if you observe carefully, in the last class we identified here, the exception class is what we identified. So each class having two types of overloaded constructor. The first one, it's not taking any parameter, and the second one, which is taking string as a parameter. Why the second one is taking string as a parameter here? So to share the additional information. Getting the point. So why we are throwing this particular exception? Here we are going to provide the information here. Getting the point. So in that case, we can go for the second constructor. We can define the message here. Right. Now what you understand here? The line number 4, we are trying to throw an exception. The line number 4, we are throwing an exception. The exception is going to handle within our catch block here. Within our catch block here. And if we observe here, system.out.println here, so this particular exception is called inside our method here. Carrying the point. Now I'm closing this particular catch block. So if you observe carefully, now what I'm trying to do, here I'm trying to rethrow an exception. I'm trying to rethrow an exception. So this exception, getting the point, this particular exception we are going to handle in our main method. And let me define this particular main method. Here I'm trying to work with the try. So why I'm trying to work with the try here, basically again this particular catch is rethrowing an exception. Getting the point. Again this particular catch is rethrowing an exception. So now first I will define this particular syntax here, try catch syntax here. Later, now what I will do, I will comment out, so if I'm not defining what happens internally. So inside this particular try block, I'm trying to call this particular method. Catch I'm closing. Sorry, try I'm closing. Here catch I'm enabling here. So null pointer exception. The EX is pointing as a reference of this particular object here. Because we are creating this particular object here. So where we are creating it, we are creating in the line number 4 here. So any object, like any exception we are trying to throw, so this is the syntax we need to follow, like how we are following the line number 4 here. And here, recode the exception. Here, I'm providing some message. And after this, I'm closing main method. And if you observe, so throwable demo, and Java C throwable demo.java. So we did not close some brace here. Okay, so it is a method. Let me compile one more time. Now you can see it's compiled successfully. Now what we can do, we can run this particular example. So if you observe carefully, this particular method is handled inside this particular catch block. So this particular message we are printing. This particular message we are printing here. So second, what we are doing here, again we are trying to rethrowing an exception. So whenever we are trying to rethrowing an exception, so this particular catch block will handle here. Getting the point. So why I'm defining true try and catch blocks here. Why I'm defining two try and catch blocks here. Getting the point. Now we understood here. So what is the purpose of each try and catch block here? So basically in the try block, so if I'm going to write any code, so this kind of code, it may be through an exception. Maybe now it's not throwing an exception. Maybe in future, this kind of code is, if it is throwing an exception, the appropriate catch block is going to handle an exception. Okay, so back to here. Now what we can do, I'm not defining the main method try and catch block here. So what happens here? So let's say I want to comment out all the code. So only I'm calling this particular method here. Only I'm trying to call this particular method. If I'm trying to call this particular method, now you can see, again I'm compiling, it's compiled successfully, and I'm going to execute this particular program. Now you can see the difference between the previous accepted information and the current accepted information. Now what you are understanding here, the previous exception, we did not get this particular start trace here. We did not get this particular start trace here. But now we are getting this particular start trace here. Along with this particular start trace here, the name of the accept information. So where we define this particular demo, Now you can see here we define the particular demo here. Now what you are understanding here, this particular message is going to describe the exception information, why we are trying to throw this particular exception information. Getting the point. So this is very important here because in the real time, so whatever the exception we are going to create, so with the help of this particular throw keyword, we'll try to throw an exception. The simple example, in the real time scenarios, now what happened? So we'll try to work with validations. Getting the point. We'll try to work with most of the validations here based on some restrictions here. Getting the point. Each and every application will have a different validations here. Getting the point. So if I want to throw some validation, now what we are doing is, so instead of this particular null pointer exception, we are going to write the validation exception, and here we'll define the validation message. Getting the point. So sometimes the validation exception will provide based on some conditions here. If the some conditions met here, we'll throw validation exception. Getting the point. Sometimes we'll work with a user related exception, or we'll work with some password related exception. If the password, whatever the criteria we are making, if the criteria is not followed, we are going to throw in a password related exception. But how we are going to provide? The message we are going to provide with the help of this particular, the string parameterized constructor. Getting the point. So this is we need to understand here why the second constructor is very much important compared to the default constructor here. Right. Now we understand here how this particular throw keyword is using here. So whenever we are trying to throw this particular exception, the appropriate catch block will handle here. And again, we are rethrowing an exception, this particular catch block will handle. So for the second example, we like commented the try and catch block example. The default try and catch block is commented the picture, and the default try and catch block is going to handle. Getting the point. So this is all about the throw keyword. But if you observe in the previous example here, so directly we are handling an exception here. Directly we are working with this particular catch block. But who handled this particular so who thrown this particular section of code here? Getting the point. So directly we handle this particular catch block here. We did not throw any exception. But so whenever we are trying to handle this particular catch block, now we overridden the message here. Overridden message is nothing but the catch block is handled. Getting the point. So the default exception handling is throw an exception when we are trying to work with yesterday classes here. Basically, if I'm trying to work with this particular division operation here, we got an exception, but the exception is thrown by the default exception handler here. And here, what we are doing is explicitly we are trying to throw an exception. So this is only the difference between the default mechanism and explicit throwing an exception here. Right now, so we understand this particular throw keyword here. So how exactly the throw keyword is going to work? Getting the point. So when we are trying to work with any exception, whether it is an inbuilt exception or whether it is a custom exception, so same syntax we need to follow here. Throw and a new keyword null pointer exception. So if I'm not following here the try catch block, so what it will do internally, it's going to check appropriate catch block. Appropriate catch block. So if I'm not writing here, let me enable this particular section of code. Here what I will do, I'm not going to write this particular catch block here, try and catch block. Now we need to understand here, so which message so we are going to get. Now what you are understanding here, now you can see record the exception is nothing but the message coming from this particular section of code. Now what you are understanding here? So we are trying to throw from the demo proc. We are trying to throw from the demo proc here. But here, this particular demo proc method is not handling any exception. This particular demo proc is not handling any exception. So what it will do? So it will try to move on to the appropriate nearest catch block. Nearest catch block. But here we are handling with the particular method with the catch block. Correct one. So this is the nearest one. If I'm not handling here, what happens internally? What happens internally? So it's going to check is there any nearest the catch block is available or not. So if it is found, it will move on to the nearest one. Otherwise, the default exception and will come into the picture. Getting the point. So we already identified. So if I'm not defining, this is also we can see. So what happens internally? I commented each and every catch, try and catch blocks. Now we can observe again. I'm trying to compile the code and I'm executing here. Now what you are understanding here? So there is no catch block. We did not define any catch block here. Now what happens internally? So the default catch block is handled here. So this is the same message. The same message we got here. But if you observe, if the explicit catch block is handled, this message we are getting. But default handler, the default catch block is handling it. This is the message we are getting along with the start trace here. Getting the point. Now, Now this is the difference between default the catch block and explicit catch block here. So whenever we are trying to write with the explicit catch block here, we can define. So whatever the message we want to throw, whatever the message we want to throw, right? Now, so we understand this particular throw keyword. Now we'll move for the throws keyword here. So now we'll move for the throws keyword here. So any questions before moving this particular throws keyword? Anyone having any question regarding this particular throw? Okay. Now we'll check with the throws keyword here. So how exactly this particular throws keyword is going to work? So basically here, if I'm not interested to handle, getting the point, if I'm not interested to handle this particular exception here, if I'm not interested to handle this particular exception using this particular try catch block. So we are having an option here. We can use the keyword called throws here. We can use the keyword called throws and we can define the particular exception here. So whatever the exception we are throwing here, sometimes what happen here, we are not interested to handle this particular exception. Now we can rethrow the exception using this particular throws keyword. Using this particular throws keyword here. Now what happens internally? This exception we are throwing here and this method again rethrowing an exception here because the method is not handling an exception. So if it is not handling here, so we need to work with throws here. Now what happens internally? Again, so it's going to check with any nearest catch block is available. Any nearest catch block is available. So if it is available, it will handle the exception here. It will handle the appropriate exception. Now you can observe. I want to, okay, let's see, clear the console, compile the code, and execute. So this is the nearest catch block we handled, and we got a message here. Getting the point. So what exactly the purpose of this particular throws keyword here? If I'm not interested to handle the throw like whatever the exception we are throwing here, now what we can do? So we can go for the throws keyword. We can declare the throws keyword at method level, so that wherever the method is calling here, we can handle with the try catch block. So whatever the exception we are throwing here, we can handle with the try catch block. That this is the simple one for this particular throws keyword here. Here, the method we are throwing here, the method we are calling here, and this is the body of the method. Internally, we are throwing an exception. Internally, we are throwing an exception. So this exception we are not handling it. Again, we are rethrowing an exception. Getting the point? Again, we are rethrowing an exception. The exception is going to handle here. Right. So this is all about the throws keyword here. If we observe carefully, the simple example, I want to work with one more on the throws keyword. Now you need to answer my question here, whether this particular example is going to work or not. So here I'm working with throws demo. The same method I want to work with throw one. Right. System.out. Println. Inside throw one method. And here now what I'm trying to do, here I want to throw different exception here. Illegal access exception here. So this is exception I want to throw. Here also I want to provide a message as a demo. Right. Here now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to throw an exception here. And after throwing an exception, we'll go for the main method. Inside this particular main method, I want to call this particular method. I want to call this particular method. Throw one I'm trying to call. Carrying the point. So we defined one static method. So we are calling from the main method here. Right. Let me save this particular throws demo.
We should define and try it through.
So where we need to define?
Should keep try block.
Yes, that is I'm
Or
asking.
throw new. Yeah,
So
for
which line?
creating an instance of throw. Line number after 3, line number 4, first we should write try block.
So you
And inside that we should add throw new line.
see the previous example. Any try block we added here?
For that you added throws above, right? If you don't want to add try block, then you can add throws.
Okay.
That's exception, yes. You
So
can
what
add
happens?
after class name.
No. So if I'm not adding the throws at method level, what happens here?
Maybe it will give error.
So let's see. I'm removing this. Okay. So now it is the same example. So what we have written here. Is there any difference here? For throw demo and throws demo here. So just we are defining the exception information. So here also same we are defining the exception. So this particular message is different here. Just for understanding we define. Other than we don't have any information here.
But in main we have, right? Try catch.
Okay. So if I'm not adding here, what happens here? Inside this particular main, so let's see. Here also I am going to comment. Only I enable the method calling and internally we are throwing an exception. So we'll see the same example one more time. What happened here?
Default exception.
Yes, the default
Detecting.
catch block is handled and it's giving an information. Okay, same example. Here I'm trying to work with the throws here. What happens internally here?
Same default.
Okay, let's see. Now you can see here, while compiling this particular code only, we are getting an exception. Now you can read this particular message. You'll get an idea like what exactly it is providing the information.
It must be caught.
Okay.
Declared.
So what you understand? It must be caught is nothing but what we need to do.
We should write
We
caught.
need to write try and catch.
Okay. So here we are having one more option. Here what is doing here? So if I'm not
Declared.
interested to catch, we can go for
We
the,
can throw keyword.
we can define the throws here. So where we need to define here? So here having a two option. So either we can go for the using the try catch block or we can go for the throws keyword. But here I want to work with the throws here, where I need to define the throws.
Static void throw throws illegal access exception.
Yes. At method level we need to use the throws here because we are trying to throw this particular exception from this particular method here. Okay. So let's see if I'm going to use here. Now what happens here? I'm trying to save. Again, I will clear this particular console and I will compile. So what happened here? Again we are getting this. The same. But now I will provide the information. Now we need to check line numbers here. I'm removing this. So now we are getting line number 7. Again I'm trying to compile. Now we are getting line number 4. Getting the point. So see the difference here. Basically, if I'm going to add here, sorry, this particular throws keyword, again we are getting line number 7. So line number 7 is nothing but this. So here again we are getting the particular compilation error. Here what we can do? Here also same we need to define, because if we observe, so inside this particular throw one, we are not interested to handle with the try catch block here. So now what we are doing here, we are having one option here, we are going for the throws keyword here. Getting the point. But here, this is a method calling here. So whenever we are trying to rethrowing an exception here, again, here also we need to check here. Here, if I'm not interested to handle with the try catch block, now what we can do, we need to rethrow an exception here. Because here we are not doing any the two operations here. Either we need to work with the try catch block or we need to work with the throws here. Because we are trying to throw an exception here. From this particular method, we are rethrowing an exception here. So if you observe carefully, how many times we are rethrowing an exception, the exception is going to caught in some location. Getting the point. In our the program, it is not handling here. The default exception handler is going to handle the exception. But here, now what we need to understand here, so to handle the default exception, we need to rethrow the exception for the multiple times. So wherever the calling is coming from the built-in classes, so up to the built-in classes, we need to throw an exception. Now, here also I don't want to use the try catch block. So now what I need to do to handle this particular compilation error. So I want to handle this particular compilation error. So what is the steps we need to take?
Try catch.
So that is I'm telling. I don't want to handle the try catch block.
Maybe throws illegal exception we can define at main method.
Yes. The same thing we can define here. If you observe, so any exception we got, any error here. So now you can see no errors. The compilation got successful. Now what you understand here? It's a simple here. Basically, from this particular line number 4, we are throwing an exception. And whenever we are throwing an exception, we are having the two options. So either we can go for the try catch block to handle the exception, or we can go for the throws keyword to rethrow the exception. Right. So this particular method is completed. But here, the problem here, whenever this particular method is rethrowing an exception, we are going to have a problem. If we are trying to handle with the try catch block, we don't have any problem here. But only the problem here, this particular method, like not only this, any method, if it's trying to rethrow the exception, so here we need to check with the two options here again. We need to handle with the two options here. So whenever we are trying to call this particular method, we can go for the try catch block, or if you are not interested, we can go for the particular rethrow option here. Okay. So now what I can do here, I don't want to work with the rethrow option. Let's see. We can work with the try and catch here. So what is the exception we are trying to rethrow? Here we can go for the illegal exception, and we can define. So whatever the message we want to write. We are handling the exception. The simple message. Now you can see, let's say all the batches are closed. Yes. I'm compiling. So still we are not getting any compilation errors. Throws demo. Inside the throws one, and we are handling the exception. Getting the point. So this is the way we can work with the throws keyword. But now if you observe, so why we did not get for this exception, like while compiling this particular exception, we are not getting any error. But if I'm going to compile this exception without adding this particular throws, we are getting an error here. Getting the point. you see the null pointer exception, here now you can see here we don't have a try catch block, and here we don't have a try catch block, and here we are not working with the throws, and the main method also we are not working with any throws. But here, if I'm going to compile one more time, so its compilation is successful. Right, now come to here, so we already identified we are getting an error here. Why we are getting an error here? If I'm not using this particular try and do the throws here. So we'll see the implementation of the null pointer exception class as well as this particular illegal access exception. Okay, so we'll understand here why this particular class we are getting the compilation error. For the another class, why we are not getting any error here. So once this particular ID is open, so we'll try to check with the internal logic here. Okay, so meanwhile we are having one more keyword, so that is called finally. We need to check with the finally. Basically this is the block we are going to call. How we define the try and catch blocks here. Getting the point. And this particular finally is a optional block. Getting the point. So if you are interested, we can go for this particular finally block. So otherwise, if I'm not writing also, we are not getting any exceptions or error here. So that we already identified. So far we did not use this particular finally block here. Getting the point. So what exactly the final block is going to work internally? So basically, so what I want to provide the information, either if we get any exception also, this particular finally block is going to execute, or we are not getting any exception also, the finally block is going to execute here. Getting the point. Now what we can do, so if we want to close any resource after completion of our operation here, now what we can do, we can define those kind of resource information inside this particular final statement here. So because this particular finally block is going to execute any cases, whether it is an exception is like when we are trying to get an exception, or if we are not getting any exception also, the finally block is going to execute here. This is important here. Getting the point. So sometimes what happens internally, we'll create a multiple objects here. So those objects we are going to work inside our try block. Right. So some cases we are getting an exception. So once we get an exception, now what we need to do, whatever the object we created, we need to destroy those objects, because once our exception is got, we cannot go for the below statements. We cannot go for the below statement. Now you can see, so here I'm trying to call the throw one method. Right. And here we are having some lines of code here. And here now what I'm doing here, I'm defining the object information. And this particular method, whenever we are calling this particular throw one method, we are getting an exception here. Just imagine, so we define some custom exception, we are getting an exception here. Now what happens internally? So whenever we are getting an exception, so we cannot execute the below statements, because directly we are moving back to the catch block. We are moving back to the catch block. Now what we can do, we need to delete this particular unwanted object here. What we can do, we can go for this particular finally block, we can delete those information. So delete is nothing but just we can make the object as a null. Once the object references wherever we are making null, so we are having one important concept called garbage collector. It will collect the unwanted objects here. Unwanted object here. Unwanted object, how it is going to identify here? So we already identified the simple example. So inside this particular, this is you can define keep memory. This is one object we created, second object, and third object, and fourth and fifth. So here T1, right, and T2, getting the point, and T3. Something T5. So these are the object references. Getting the point. We already identified with help of this particular reference only, we are going to work with the particular object information. If I'm going to make this particular T1, T2, T3 reference as a null, what happens internally? So there is no relation, like there is no communication between this particular reference to this particular heap memory. Now what happens internally? If you don't have a relation here, now these particular objects are eligible to collect the garbage collector. These particular objects are eligible to collect the garbage collector. Getting the point. So this is only we can define inside this particular finally block. So along with this, we are having one more option here when we are trying to work with file related applications here. While like input stream or output stream, now what happens internally? We'll try to write the data into the file, or we'll try to load the data from the file. So while loading or while writing the data, if we are going to get any exception, what happens internally? So we can close those particular file related resources here. Where we can close? Inside this particular finally block. Inside this particular finally block. Just for understanding, I want to define one message here. Just for understanding, I'm defining it. So how this particular finally block is going to execute here. Let me so Java C close demo.java. Sorry. Let me define. Compile one more time and close demo. Now you can see, so after executing this particular catch block, we are executing finally block. Getting the point. So this is the way we can work with this particular finally block here. Every time, if I'm not defining also, so we cannot check this. Here, which exception is the better? Okay, maybe so these are having catch and so try and catch here. Basically, what I'm trying to show here, try is expecting catch block or finally block. So without any one of these, we cannot define the catch block here. Getting the point. So that this is very important here. So either we can define the catch block or we can define the finally block. But if I'm not defining both, the catch block will give an error here. So this is also we are having one option here. So if I'm not interested to define the catch block, we need to define the finally block. So otherwise we can define the catch block here if I'm not interested to define the finally block. So in the previous example, we already identified the finally block we are defining here. The finally block, finally we did not define. Try and catch with, we add an example here. Now, so what I want to do, so we can have a simple example on the try with the finally here. Static void so try with finally. So try with finally method, and here so I want to check with the null pointer exception. I'm not adding anything here, and So string args here. Now, after defining this particular main method, what we can do? So here we need to call this particular method. I'm calling inside this particular, try with finally method. System.out. Finally block. And close. And main also. Java C. Try with finally.java. It's compiled successfully. Try with finally. Getting the point. Now what you understand here? Basically, this exception is handled by the default catch block here, because we did not define any catch block. So just we are checking with try and do finally here. We are not getting any error here. So the compilation and execution is successfully completed without error here. Now what we understand here? We can go for the try with finally, or we can go for the try with catch. Now if you observe, so I'm going to remove this finally. I'm like commenting this particular finally block. I will compile one more time. Now you can see we are getting an error here. Try without catch or finally or resource declaration. So try is expecting either catch or finally block. So this we need to understand very carefully here how exactly this particular try block is working here. Okay, so back to here. Now we want to check with this particular illegal access exception from this particular IDE. Now you can see this particular illegal access exception is extending from the something called reflective operation exception. Okay, now we need to understand this exception is coming from the where. Now if you observe, this exception is coming from the exception class. Getting the point? This exception is coming from the exception class. Okay, same way, now I want to check this particular null pointer exception. Null pointer exception. Now you can observe, by default, null pointer is extending from the runtime exception. Getting the point? By default, null pointer exception is extending from the runtime exception, but illegal access exception is not extending from the runtime exception. It is directly extending from our exception class. Now what you are understanding here? So basically, any exception is extending from this particular runtime exception. So those are unchecked exceptions. So those unchecked exception, if I'm not adding the try or catch like what we defined the throws and throws keyword, we are not going to get any error. But the problem here, when we are trying to work with the checked exception, the checked exception we identified here, illegal access exception, right? So for this exception, now what we can do, we need to handle with some care here, because these exceptions are going to give compile time errors, and these exceptions are going to give an error at runtime. So this is only the difference between the checked exception and the unchecked exception. Okay, so what are the checked exceptions here? We already identified here arithmetic exception, array index, bout of found exception, null pointer exception. So these are comes under the unchecked exception. But what about this particular checked exception? So this is illegal access exception, right? And one more exception we are having. So we'll see class not found exception. I'm not defining anything here. I'm not defining anything here. And okay, we'll keep this one. So illegal, we'll keep this one here. So we'll try to check with one more time. Java say roles demo.java. Cutting the pen. So here now you can observe class not found must be caught or declared to be thrown here. Now what you understand here? Class not found exception also checked exception. Now if we want to understand here, so we'll see this particular class not found exception. Like what exactly the class not found exception is defined here. Now you can observe here, class not found exception also is extending from the other effective operation exception. If I'm going to click F3 here, we are moving inside this particular class. Now you can see this is extending from the our exception class. So it is not extending from the our runtime exception. Getting the point. So this is the way we can easily understand here. So what are the checked exceptions and what are the unchecked exceptions here? Any questions here?
Before this example, you showed another example in which there was error, right? And it said no try catch or resource allocation. I mean, resource declaration. Can I know what is resource declaration?
So basically, like where we are trying to call this particular method, it's giving an error here. So we need to fill the proper information here. So there is no much resource, the specific resource here. So basically, what we can call it as the leakage of this particular application. We are not following the proper syntax to fulfill this syntaxes when we are trying to work with this particular exceptions here. Or we can call it as this particular catch block.
I didn't understand. You mean that since it is syntax error, I mean, we have not provided all the declarations, that's why resource
Yes,
declaration?
yes. So
Okay.
basically, like the finally, as I explained here, well, we covered like a file input stream or file output stream when we're trying to work with the file related example. Now what we are doing here, so we'll try to create a objects here. Like we'll try to while creating an object, we'll try to read the data and we'll upload the data. Getting the point. So if you're not understanding here, no problem. We'll check with the file input stream and the file output stream later. But here, the purpose I want to explain here. Basically, using this particular input stream and output stream, what we are doing here, we'll try to write the data or we'll try to load the data. So while writing and loading the data, we are going to have some resources here. The objects, we are going to call it as a resource here. Same thing, now you can see this is one of the out also, it's a resource here. Now I want to provide this particular system to this type. So this is a system class. So here now you can see we will have a in. In is a input stream. Same way out here. This is a print stream. Print stream is also one of the output stream here. This output stream we are going to call it as a resource because internally we are creating a one object of this particular output stream. So this particular object we are going to call it as a resource. We did not closing properly. So those information is providing. So try to provide the proper resource declarations here. Now if you
Okay.
know, so file output stream. So these sections we are going to call it as the resource objects here. Basically, the resource object we will try to work with within this particular finally groups. So it's giving this kind of related information that called resource.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now what we can do, so we need to understand this. So what are the built-in exceptions we are having? What are the built-in exceptions? So some of the built-in exceptions we already identified. The arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, and now we identify the class not found exception. Same way, we are having one more exception that is called class cast exception. This is very important exception, class cast exception. And here it is a unchecked exception it is. But now, so when we are going to get this particular exception here. Basically, when we are trying to convert one data type into another data type here, we are going to get an exception here, the class cast exception. And what about this particular class not found exception? Basically, while compiling or executing our application here, so sometimes if I'm not finding the created class, we are going to get the class not found exception. So simple example here, previously we created with the test class. Right. This particular class is not finding at runtime. We may get this particular exception, class not found exception. And what about this particular null pointer? For this particular null pointer here, so we need to see the simple example here. And in the real-time scenarios, we are going to get more and more this particular null pointer, class not found, class cast. These three are the very important. So let's see, we'll try to work with a simple example. For example, on the null pointer exception. Now we can see so here I'm creating one string here, and I'm not defining any object here. The string does not contain any information. It is a null. I'm specifying by default null here. And if we observe system.out.println str.length. So length is a method here. So previously we identified the variable. When we are trying to work with arrays concepts here, we identify the length is a variable. But when we are trying to work with string here, this is a method here. Length is a method. Now what it will do internally, it will return the size of this particular string object. It will return the size of this particular string. So we'll see later regarding this particular method. Now we need to focus on the null pointer exception. So Java C, what is the name of the class we are having? Throwable exception Java. We are not getting any compilation error. But now we need to understand at runtime. So what happened here? We are getting a null pointer exception here. Right. So how we are getting the null pointer exception here? That we need to understand here. Here, this particular object we are making null. With the help of this particular null, we are trying to call this particular method called length method. Getting the point? So this is important here. So how we are getting here? This str is null. If the str is null, object is null, we can call the method which is defined in our particular class. Getting the point? The simple example here, we checked with the box example. Now what I'm doing here, this particular box I'm making null. But finally, now what I'm doing here, I'm calling box.value, box.value. But how compiler will know whether this particular value is defined inside this particular box or not? So just what we are doing here, we are defining the type here. What is the type here? It is a type called box. This particular reference is having the type called box. But here we did not define the object here. Carrying the point. So to define the object, what we can do? So we need to call this particular new with the box here. New with the box here. But this section of code we are not defining here. If I'm not defining this particular section of code, this particular reference is having null. It is empty. Because we are not having any such information. But how we can call this particular value method? Right. Same thing is happened for this particular 2-line of code. So whenever we are trying to work with the null information, if I'm going to do any other operation with the null value, we may get a null pointer exception. Right. So this is all about the null pointer exception. And the class cast we already okay. So to understand the class cast here, so the simple example, whenever we are trying to convert from double to int or double to string, or whenever we are trying to convert box to some other class called test. Now what happens internally? So we may get an exception here. Carrying the point. This particular bbox is having the reference called box. But now what I'm doing here, this particular bos, we are having one test object here. So now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to cloning into this particular test. Carrying the point. This particular object is having the different data type, and this particular test is having the different data type here. How we are going to cloning one data type object into the another data type here. So in that case, so we are going to get an exception called class cast exception. Right. So class not found. So we cannot understand here. Basically, while compiling the code or while running the code, so we may get, if the class is not found, the particular class not found exception. So class not found exception, no such method exception, we can see when we are trying to discuss with Spring related concepts here. Because so we may get this kind of exception while discussing the Spring concepts here. Here, no such method exception. No such method exception here. This is checked exception here because it is extending from the reflective operation exception and directly is extending from the exception class. Right. So what is the purpose of this particular no such method exception? Whenever we are trying to work with the methods here, sometimes what happens here, the methods are available at compile time, but sometimes the methods will not available at runtime, or maybe some methods will not available at compile time. So simple example here. Now the value method we define, but here, so one more method I'm trying to call, something called viewval. If sometimes what happened here, if we did not define this particular viewval method inside the our box class. Inside our box class. Now what happens internally? So we may get no such method exception. Heading the point. We may get no such method exception here. So this is happens based on our exception. We'll have a different description. Okay, so back to here and other methods here. So we already identified this particular illegal argument exception here. Whenever we are trying to work with the arguments here. So based on the parameter arguments here, we are going to get an exception here. So whether it is the main method or if we are going to work with any different method. Getting the point. If I'm not following the proper data type of the parameter, so we may get an illegal argument exception here. And so we already identified array index auto bound exception and null pointer exception. Okay. So we'll see, like I will provide the table for this particular checked exception and unchecked exception here, or you can check in the Google, so you'll get to know like what are the checked exceptions, what are the unchecked exceptions. We are already understand here the difference between the checked and unchecked here. Okay. So any questions because we need to understand some different exceptions here. And I want to provide the different multiple example on this particular exception handling here, so that you're going to have more information on this particular exception handling here. So let me provide the one more example. Let's start with the try block, how to use the try catch. And here, okay, so we'll try to check with the custom exceptions here. So how we can create our own exception here. Just now I explained here validation exception, or we can go for the username not found or password not found, some authentication failure exception, getting the point. So we can work with some custom exception based on the applications. We are going to have different types of exceptions here. So in that case, first we'll check with a simple example how we can work with our custom exception. So to work with the custom exceptions, what exactly we need to follow the syntax is here. So basically, we need to follow the basic information. We need to create a subclass of our exception class. We need to create a subclass of our exception class. That's it. So we don't want to follow much code here. Simply, we can create a subclass and we can write what is the exception we want to create. Let me define this particular class here. This is my exception. Is extending from our exception class. So this we need to define to create any custom exception. And now what I'm doing here, I want to work with some into detail. Here, my exception, one constructor I'm defining, so which is expecting integer parameter detail is equals to a. I'm closing the constructor, and now what I'm doing here, so public toString method, and return my exception, and here I want to define some information here with some details here. Close the brace. Getting the point. So just for understanding here, I'm trying to work with the toString method, and here now you can observe here I created the custom exception called my exception. So by extending this particular exception class, and after this I'm having one parameter. Sorry, I'm having one variable called into details here, and the details I'm going to specify while creating this particular exception class. And finally, now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to override this particular toString method. So why I'm trying to override this particular toString method, I will explain. So basically, let me go to this particular null pointer exception. And here, if you observe, this particular null pointer exception having only two constructors here. One constructor is the default constructor, and another constructor is having one parameter constructor, which is expecting string as a one parameter. Now that we already identified here. Okay, we'll go for the superclass. What is the superclass for the null pointer exception? Runtime exception. Now you can see inside this particular runtime exception, so it is expecting some different overloaded constructors. And here we don't have a toString here. Now what we can do, we'll go to this particular exception class. Inside this particular exception class, now you can observe exception, and these are the constructors we are having. Only constructor information available inside this particular exception. And finally, we are moving into throwable class. Now we need to focus here inside this particular throwable. We are having toString. We are having toString method. Because we already discussed this, recording this particular toString. This toString is available in an object class, and we overridden inside this particular throwable class. Why we overridden in the throwable class? To print the message with a different format. To print the message with a different format. So what is the message we are going to print? The exception message here. Okay, let's see how we are trying to print. Now you can observe. Okay, here now you can observe what we are doing here inside this particular toString here. We are loading get class dot get name. Right, and here we are trying to work with the localized message, and what we are defining inside this particular localized message. Now you can see there is no, while creating this particular throwable class, the message is going to set. So what is the message is going to set here? Here we are setting. Now what you understand? This is the one constructor. This is the throwable constructor, right? Because we already identified in our exception handling, throwable is our superclass. Any exception class if I'm going to create, the finally this constructor is going to call with the message constructor, and we are setting the particular message. Now what you understand is the details message here, whatever the message we are going to set while creating the constructor. Simple example here. The simple example here we are setting demo. We are setting demo. This message, this particular demo message is going to set inside this particular localized message. Now here message we got as a demo, and here we are getting the name of the class. Name of the class here, and here what we are doing here, if the message not equals to null, if the message not equals to null, what we are doing here, along with the class, and we are setting the message. Along with the class, we are setting the message. Otherwise, only we are setting the name of this particular class. Getting the point. Now you can see ternary operator. So this particular ternary operator we already discussed here. Same concept is implemented in the which class? Throwable class. But now you can see the way of implementing is different. The concept is same here. Now we are checking this particular exception is returning true. So it will, this particular block will execute. Otherwise, this particular block. Getting the point. And we check with the overloaded constructor. Now if you want to know, these are the overloaded constructors. This is the default constructor which is expecting string parameter, and which is expecting throwable object, and which is expecting throwable as a parameter. Now you can see, so this is the protected. So it is having different color. Now we can see this is the different protected constructor here, and which is expecting different parameters. Carrying the point. Now we already discussed overloaded constructors. Right. So same way we'll have a different methods here. So get message. So and get class, get localized method. These are the different messages here. And you can see we're having the private method. Private method will have a red color here. Right. Public method will have a green, and so protected method we already identified, which is having the different colors here. So this is the way we can easily understand here how this particular each class is implemented internally. Okay. Back to here. Now what I want to provide. So same thing, the same toString method we are overriding in our myException class. Why I'm overriding here? So instead of taking the default message, information, now what I'm doing is I'm trying to constructing my own message here. So whenever we are trying to override these toString method, it's not going to call the superclass toString method. So this is very important. We need to understand. Getting the point. Whenever we are trying to override the toString method in your own class toString method only it's going to call. Okay. So this is all about the toString method. Let me save. Okay. The exception class is be saved here. Now what I want to understand here, I want to work with the one more class. Here exception demo. Inside this particular exception demo, string of and so from this particular main method, now I want to work with the try block, and here I want to work with the compute method, so which is expecting one value, and same way a method I'm calling 2 times here and 20. Try I'm closing here, and here so catch here my exception here. So here now what I want to do, system.out.println caught and plus e. Catch also I am closing here. Okay, here now what we can do, so we need to define the method here. So to define the method, we need a static method, compute method, so which is expecting int I. Right. So inside this particular method, now what I want to do, system.out.println. So compute method is called. Right, and here we can specify the parameters. So this is the message I want to write. And here now what I'm trying to do, so if this particular I value greater than 10, if this particular I value greater than 10, now what I want to do, throw new my exception, and here what I want to specify I value. What I want to specify I value. So otherwise now what we can do, system.out.println, it is a normal exist. So it's the normal condition. Getting the point. And let me close this particular method. And finally, we need to close this particular main class. So if we observe carefully, so here now you can think here I'm making some condition. If the condition is satisfied, I'm throwing an exception. So same thing you can think here while creating a custom exception here. So for example, it is a validation exception. So validation exception is nothing but if the member salary is exceeded with some 5,000 or 10,000. Now what we can do, we can throw an exception, we can define the message. The member salary cannot exceed with some amount here. Right. So this is the one condition. And another condition what we can make here, if the username and password, username is not equals to our username, so whatever the standards we are going to follow for our application, the standard is not following while creating an application, so we can throw an exception for this password also. Right, for security reason. So the user cannot access some secured resource. Now what we can do, we can throw an exception. So we are going to have different types of exceptions we are going to define. So this is a simple example, and with the one condition I'm throwing an exception. Just imagine so how we can work with her in the real-time example with the different types of condition. Carrying the point. Now let me run this particular exception class. Java say exception demo.java. Okay. Unreported exception. My exception must be caught, declared to be to thrown. What happened here? We are not handling. My exception. And compile. Now you can see it's compiled successfully. And I'm trying to execute here. So now you can observe my exception, some value called 20. My exception, some value called 20. Okay. So this is all about the creating a custom exception and overriding the toString method to print the proper message here. Not only this, so we are going to work with a different exception on the toString. We'll see how we can override the toString method so to execute the proper output here. Okay, now, so what I want to do, the same exception like us, like previously, what are the exceptions we handle here? This, yes. So this particular exception 0. This particular exception 0, maybe we have, I think, let me see. I want to check with inside this particular toString here. I want to show you how this particular toString is going to work. Eclipse is not responding. We need to wait. Okay, let's see. I'm putting a breakpoint inside this particular toString here. Let me go to this particular project directory. And this is the project we created as a core 07. Yes, we are having exception 01. So this is, we are trying to work. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to run this exception one more time with the debug mode. Okay, proceed. This particular div method is called. Finally, now you can observe. So this is the throwable class. toString method is calling. So why this particular toString method is calling? Because we did not override any toString method here. So if we did not override any toString method, now what happens internally? The default toString method is going to call for this superclass. Okay, now you can see. So what exactly the name we are going to get? So it is a arithmetic exception. It is a arithmetic exception. Right now, so once we define this particular name, what we are doing here, we are trying to, sorry, so it is not come to the, okay, the below line here, maybe it is suspended here. But now we understand here, the toString method is calling here. So once the toString method is called, which is define the name of the method, getting the point. So this is the name of the message and slash by 0. Now you can see colon here. This colon is coming from the here. This particular colon is coming from the here and the message. What is the message we are having? The message we are printing slash by 0. The message we are printing slash by 0. Getting the point. So S is nothing but this is the S. This is the message S and this is the message section. Right. This is totally coming from the toString method. So this is a way we can define the toString method to work with our own exceptions and toString here. Okay. So any queries regarding our today's sessions, creating the custom exception or unchecked exceptions or checked exceptions? Okay, so we don't have here, we are pending with the one concept here, something called in the 1.7. So new features are added, the new feature called try with resource here. So basically what exactly it is providing here, in the same catch block we can work with the multiple exceptions here. Getting the point? In the same catch block we can work with the multiple catch block here. Let's see. So instead of defining in the previous exception, so we work with the arithmetic exception as well as array index out of bound exception. Now what we can do, this particular exception, getting the point, this particular exception we can work like this. Here we can define the arithmetic exception ex here. We don't want to work these many exceptions here. So simply we can define here. So in the same catch block we can define the multiple exceptions. So this is one feature is added in 1.7 for the exception handling here. So let's see the same example we are going to run. Okay, if I'm not providing the argument here, we'll get a 0. So arithmetic exception for the one we are going to get. Okay. So let's say Java C multiple catches dot Java, and it is compiled successfully, and we are running. Now you can observe arithmetic exception is executing, and same way now I want to provide the one parameter command line arguments we are going to call. Getting the point? So this example also we already identified in the previous example. So don't confuse here. So after providing the class name, so these values are going to pass as the main method parameters here, string args, like whatever the args you are defining. So those arguments are going to taken care about the command line values here. And now you can see array index out of bound exception. So without changing the catch block, we are executing different exceptions here. Getting the point? So this is one feature is added in 1.7. Okay. So any questions regarding this particular 1.7 try with the resource feature? Okay. So we don't have anything here. We are going to stop today's session here, and we'll continue tomorrow one important concept called multi-threading. Okay. So we'll try to continue tomorrow multi-threading concepts here.
In the previous example, why didn't you write or exception? That was also one of the catch condition, right? Just exception. Mm,
This
Yeah.
this
Third
is your
catch was,
topic?
yeah,
This
yeah.
one?
Mm.
Basically, what happens here, we give an option to execute this subclass exception. If any subclass is not matched here, so we are moving into the superclass exception here. If you see, if it is a unchecked exception or checked exception, so finally the superclass for the checked and unchecked, it is a exception class. So we are giving an option to the execute the superclass exception. So simple example. Basically, here we are getting two exceptions. One is arithmetic exception, or one more array index out of bound exception. Sometimes,
Yeah.
so you can think if I'm going to get null pointer exception. Here we did not define the null pointer exception here.
Yeah, that is only my question. That why when you are using that resource, that 1.7 thing, why didn't you add exception in that?
You can add, no problem. So if I'm going to add directly exception here, all the exceptions are going to handle here. So there is no option like we want to check with the subclass exception. We can specify here the subclass exception. Otherwise, directly you can specify. Directly you can specify the exception superclass exception.
Okay. Along with subclass, we cannot specify superclass.
Yes, you can specify here. There is no problem.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow one important concept called multi-threading.